And welcome back to the NWA 1983 project. I'm your host, Juan Cena, and with me, as always, Matt Riley. How you doing tonight, Matt?
Oh, I'm fabulous.
This episode will be our series or season finale, whatever you want to call it. Our last episode of the 1983 product. It is our version of Showdown at Shea. Main event on this show will be Nature Boy Ric Flair, the NWA World Champion, taking on Bruiser Brody. In addition, we'll have Roddy Piper, United States Champion, taking on Terry Funk. And that should be a hell of a match, folks. You know, I recently saw a Piper's Pit from like '85 with Funk and Piper on it. And it's one of the most amazing things I've ever seen.
Hello, peasants, hello. With us this time we have, we have a fella, we have Terry Funk. No, that's F-U-N-K, Terry Funk. And Terry Funk, you walk in the door, it cost you $5 to walk in the door, because all of a sudden, how come you look at me like that, man?
Why do I look at you like that? Because I'm a jealous man. I'm jealous of Hulk Hogan. I'm jealous of the Junkyard Dog because they make more money than I do. But I'm also jealous of you too, Piper.
What are you jealous of me?
Because you make more money than I do too. But don't.
Well, if you would quit getting fined every time you walk into the door, maybe I wouldn't make more money.
What do you expect when a man puts a cowboy hat on?
I got something to show him. This is why you got fined $5 grand. You see it on the monitor. The pigs can't see it, but you can see it. This is why you got fined $5 grand, because you took advantage of this fella here. And I want you to tell us exactly what happened.
Right there, you can see it. You see me handing him my coat. And what did the man do? That is my hat. You don't put a cowboy's hat on, especially somebody that's meaner than a rattlesnake, tougher than shoe leather, a panhandling, manhandling, high-rolling, post-pulling son of a gun. And that's what I am.
Where are you from?
I'm from the Double Cross Ranch in Amarillo, Texas. The world's greatest place. That's right.
Oh, yeah. If that's the best road, yeah.
When I travel to the big ranch up in the sky, where the grass is tall, lush, and green, and
I like you!
Full, clear, and deep.
I like
and
you!
And a big man asked me if I paid my toll. That's when I want to be remembered for beating the Junkyard Dog and murdering rock and roll.
You're all right. You're all right. Okay.
Really?
They've never really feuded. They never really had that much interactions. But those guys have so much chemistry together because they're both completely insane that they would have made a hell of a team, or they'd have been a hell of a feud.
We have Mr. Terry Funk, the greatest doggone cowboy I ever seen in my life, between you and Ace, and it's a pleasure to have you here. Please sit down if you wish.
I'll just stand because I'm here to talk about dogs. And I know you know a lot about dogs.
I know all kinds of different dogs, man.
My daddy told me that a dog is a dog and a junkyard dog is no dog at all.
Very smart man, Papa is, man.
It's just a clown, a buffoon. And that's exactly what the junkyard dog is. You know, hey, Ace has branded over 1,000 cattle in his life.
Yeah?
I've branded thousands of cattle.
What do they say? What do they sound like when you brand them, man? When you put that hot fire on them?
Do you know what kind of noise the JYD's gonna make when I put the branding iron on him? He is going to go hee-haw, hee-haw.
As in jackass.
He is a jackass.
You know, when I come to think of it, I ain't never seen someone like him riding on a horse wearing a cowboy hat either, man.
Neither have I. And when I have a chance at the Junkyard Dog, all he is a pig nose, big eye, arrogant, to him, I'm going to brand him not once, but I'm going to brand him for good.
Oh, that's nice!
Yeah.
Like, that shit would have been fucking amazing, because Piper's just batshit crazy, and Funk is Terry Funk, for Christ's sakes. So guys, on this episode, we're going to take a look at the latest MLW show, Road to the World Championship. In addition, we're going to go through some of the results and give our feelings on the 3 Showdown and Shea shows from the WWF. And we're going to talk a little Terry Funk. And in between, you'll get hilarity and shenanigans all around. So, Matt, I know you watched the MLW show today. I also watched the MLW show today. What are your thoughts on this show?
Well, it was interesting. I have little notes here, actually, from my viewings.
Now, this is the 3rd MLW show. And then this promotion was a super indie in the early aughts or 2000s, whatever you want to call it. It folded when the owner and proprietor was signed up by WWE as one of the writers. And then fast forward, I don't know, 15 years, 14 years. He's back. He's back with his own promotion. He's based out of Florida. And he's looking to rekindle interest in his promotion. So, Matt, what do you got for us?
Well, interesting. It's got a good collection of talent. There was a couple of good women's matches in there, along with other things else. But I thought the crowd was pretty interesting. There's one thing, if you watch the video of this taping, try not to notice the most unenthusiastic fan in the world, and he's the guy straight dead center with a Pittsburgh Pirates hat on. He sits with his arms folded almost the entire show.
The fans, and I mentioned this when we reviewed their first show, the fans there, my wife noticed this today because she came over. She doesn't watch wrestling at all. And she watched like 2 minutes of it. It's like, why is the crowd so quiet? Why are they not reacting to anything? And I'm like, I don't know. Like, their crowd is dead. It's like someone forced them at gunpoint to be there. It's so strange. And I was thinking that, hey, maybe they didn't mic the crowd good or whatever, but like, no, I'm like staring at the crowd, and they're like mannequins. It's very strange to me.
Yeah, there was one guy that really stood out to me, and he was this guy who had the hat on. His girlfriend kind of cheered a couple times, but he just sat there, arms folded. So it really got to be a point where, like, if I was one of the workers, I'd have been like, this move's going to be so good, even the fat guy in the Pirates hat's going to cheer. Just to get people to turn on him and be like wait, like do a move and look at the guy like, is he cheering? Like, make it a thing where he'll be like.
It reminds me of that GIF of the guy with like the thumbs down, like nah.
Yeah.
But the crowd was dead at their other show too, so I wonder if there's a couple.
I have the solution for this.
Well, there's a couple of things. Now, number one, if that same card was on in New York, Philadelphia, Chicago, the crowd would have been apeshit for that show. Like, it would have been almost an electric atmosphere. It would have been riotous, and I wonder why this crowd was so dead. I think one of the things that have to do with it is that it's in Florida, and Florida has like all the indies right now, has NXT. Apparently, Impact has moved to Canada, sort of. I'm not sure. I don't keep up with them probably as much as I should, but I think they may be burnt out on wrestling down there. Either that, or it's just I don't know what it could be. Like, are they not like normal? Like, are they just? Because we used to have this. This is similar to a crowd at like the Disney tapings, or there's some of the crowds at Impact where it's part of the attraction. They go in, they cool off for an hour to watch a wrestling show because they're at the parks all day. But this is at a nightclub, so I'm just wondering why exactly the crowd seems so listless and dead. I don't think it hurt the matches, but I think it may have hurt the overall presentation of the show.
I think the crowd, there's some parts that were pretty lively, but I think if you don't have a wrestling crowd there, I mean, you can't have every single show be in, the Philly, New Jersey area.
No.
I think part of it is the crowd will get hot, but I think the easy solution here is the one I've had for years. Put a few plants in the crowd.
You got to do it.
Crowds are notoriously, minions. They'll follow along, whether it's chants, slapping. No one does the spot I've always thought was hysterical, where you get the fans clapping. What are you clapping for? You know, like you could have had a play off that guy. There was somebody in the front row, bottom part of your screen to the right. That was a large individual that they kept making fun of. Austin Aries made fun of him. A couple other guys made fun of him.
Low key had words with him.
Right. So I think crowd-wise, I would get more wrestling fans in there. I think you probably have some people who weren't necessarily wrestling fans.
I don't know.
That's the best they can do, man. Ugh.
It's rough. I don't fairly understand it.
But
let's go over the matches here. So
yeah,
we'll start from the beginning. To open the show, we had Santana Garrett, who defeated Lacey Lane. This was a women's match.
Yes.
I thought this match was pretty good. Santana Garrett is a great female performer. It seems like they're the one that they're going to kind of focus their division on. She seems like, you know, they're a top woman. It looks like they're probably going to bring in people to face her. So I think a really good outing for her.
I think it was well done. I think she has poise, has some good moves, a couple of things here and there, but I think most part she's a good person to work around if you're going to do that.
Apparently she was trained by Scott Hall and Larry Zbyszko, so good for her. Yeah. The next match was probably the roughest match of the night. Not saying that any of these matches were bad, because I don't want to put that out there, because I thought all the matches were perfectly acceptable and some really good. But we had a lucha match with Destino Negro, who defeated Mega Dancer.
Danger.
Mega Danger.
Now I kind of want to see a guy called Mega Dancer. You're gonna go down.
But it was fun. There's nothing worse than bad lucha matches.
Oh yeah.
And it was like it seemed like their timing was off. I don't know. This just seemed weird.
I will say this. I did like the fact the crowd knew to get the shit out of the way when they went out of the ring. They scattered. That was kind of fun.
It was weird because they didn't announce it as a Extreme Rule or hardcore match, no DQ match. So
I will say this.
Rich Bikini is like, that should have been a disqualification. What's going on? It's like, oh no, it's a no DQ match. So I don't know if they forgot to announce it or they win the business for themselves.
I did like hearing Tony Schiavone call the act.
Of course.
Nice. But I will say this. The avalanche driver they used at the end was a good finish. But I think one of the problems, and this is an overall problem, my whole feel of this show, is the no-sell for some really major moves. Like, guys, I get it, but like that's what killed ECW for a lot of people. Was like 17 DDTs and chair shots. He kicked out. Like, come on, man. Like, something's got to be good.
Well, I think that's an indication of modern wrestling at all, in total, because I think they did a good job selling injuries. Like when we talk about the Austin Aries match. Yeah, they did a good job selling injuries and stuff, that kind of stuff. But when they're doing their sequences, they're no longer selling. Right. And I find that very strange to me. But I think it's more of indictment of modern professional wrestling today than, this company in general. Seth Petrelli and Simon Gotch, who defeated Jason Cade and Jimmy Yuta. Nice to see Simon Gotch, fresh off of WWE TV. I think he was released, earlier last year.
I was gonna say, I saw that name. I'm like, wait, what?
Yeah,
Simon Gotch.
He still has that handlebar kind of mustache thing going on. Apparently, there were Team Filthy now with Tom Lawler, so that's interesting. They get the dupe here. So, Matt, what are your thoughts on this match?
It wasn't bad, but I was never really a big fan of Simon Gotch, anyways. But
I think anyone is.
I don't know if it's just he looks like such an asshole. You're like, that guy's an asshole. And that's part of his look. But going in, there was a line the co-host, not Tony Schiavone, the other guy said, where he was like, wow, some people have said this other team here reminds them of Steamboat and Youngblood. And I'm like, oh, that's pretty big praise. They're actually going over.
That's a little pandering for the old school audience.
Right. I was like, oh, it must be going over. Nope, he's not. It was all right. I mean, like, a lot of this stuff there wasn't too bad, technically. There were a couple of, again, killer moves. You're like, wow, it's great. But I also think they're doing a lot of really risky moves that are potential time bombs. They're not careful.
Yeah, agreed there. It was a pretty, standard fare. Perfectly acceptable wrestling, as I like to call it. Next up, we had Low Key, who defeated Kodo Brazil. This was basically a squash match. Now, I understand what they're doing because they had Low Key in the tournament, and then he took out an official on the last show. So they pulled him for the tournament. So I'm assuming whoever's going to win the tournament for the world title, his first opponent's going to be Low Ki. So they're really kind of, trying to get Low Ki over, make him look strong, and they did in this match. That's for sure. They took off this guy's mask and everything.
Yeah, poor dude.
Unbelievable. I like Black Friday management. I like Stokely Hathaway. He's awesome. So, that's a good team. I want to say Low Ki had Homicide's old Ring of Honor music. I kind of heard that in the background, so I thought that was neat. Typical squash for Low Ki. So to have the feuds kind of go from show to show, they're going to have a lot more stuff going on in the backstage, maybe a little bit more in terms of run-ins, because they have to get to the next show. And with no TV in between, it gets difficult. One of the things that I liked was at the beginning, at the Open, they had all the wrestlers talk about what it meant to be the world champion. And I thought that was really well done. I thought the production on the show was extremely well done, especially for a once-a-month independent promotion. I thought, graphics were great, lighting was good, camera work was good. They did a really great job with that. So high-quality stuff going on in terms of production. Next up, we had Chelsea Green, who defeated Priscilla Kelly. Now, Chelsea Green is also in Impact. She does a crazy girl gimmick.
I recognized her. I was like, what?
So it's funny not to see her as that character, as she's basically herself here. And they're really pushing Priscilla Kelly, so it looks like she's going to go after Santana Garrett next. I'm assuming Green got the win by DQ here is probably because they're using Impact talent, so they got to make sure that they protect those guys.
Right.
But having her win by DQ and having Priscilla be all crazy and stuff was really cool. So I'm a big fan of Chelsea Green, so I believe she's dating Zack Ryder, by the way.
Oh, really?
I'm pretty sure that's the case.
All right.
But good for Zack. What are your thoughts on this match?
Again, another fine match. I think it was more like, hey, can you see talent like other leagues?
Yeah.
Because then you think, okay, were they released or is it a talent exchange? What's going on? But I was happy to see, again, it wasn't a hair pull-a-thon, which a lot of times you see this stuff, and it's like, oh boy, here we go. It was legit.
I mean, the women that are coming up now, this generation of women wrestlers are probably the best technically inclined women in the history of professional wrestling. I mean, this is not Leilani Kai and Judy Martin wrestling here. These girls can really go. So I'm curious to see where they go on from this. So it looks like you want to see Priscilla Kelly versus Santana Garrett at the next show, which is a spring break show, by the way. When you say a spring break show, it always reminds me of those WCW Nitros that were like spring break. It's spring break. And
Nash and Big Van Vader surfing.
Nash and Hall would come in like in Hawaiian shirts and stuff. Yeah. He's like, why aren't you in your gear? He's like, it's spring break, brother.
Yeah.
I thought that was awesome. So next up, we had Austin Aries, who defeated ACH. Austin Aries has like 6,900 belts right now. He's the champion of like 9 different independent organizations and Impact, apparently.
Yep.
So good for you, Austin Aries. I think his departure from the WWE was a big loss for them, because I've watched Austin Aries literally from the beginning. I've seen him in Ring of Honor like way early on, 03, 04 days, right? And you go back and you watch those shows, and those early Ring of Honor shows, like the talent on those shows, they're stacked. Like they're ridiculously stacked. And you watch a Ring of Honor show from back then, you will see Samoa Joe, CM Punk, Austin Aries, Homicide, Briscoes, AJ Styles, Christopher Daniels, Bryan Danielson, Daniel Bryan. And you got to realize how like literally stacked those shows were. Like they're insane. It's one of those things that reminds me of the old Pittsburgh Pirates. Remember the old Pittsburgh Pirates when they had like Bobby Bonilla and Barry Bonds, Andy Van Slyke? Teams were stacked, but those were small market teams, and they couldn't keep their talent together. And it would be interesting to see if those guys would have been able to stay in Ring of Honor and made really good money, how far above Ring of Honor would be than anyone else at this moment. So,
right.
It would have been amazing. What are your thoughts on Austin? He gets smoother. Every time I see him, he gets smoother and smoother in the ring. He's amazing.
I only noticed about him, he looked less lean. He looked like he's still, fit, but he looked less defined.
Yeah.
Probably on the road so much, he's not having the time to get jacked up all the time, the gym.
Yeah.
But, he's still performs like you would, think really well. I thought it was a good match, and I think his comments at the end were kind of interesting about, middleweight championship.
Yeah, and we haven't seen a middleweight champion since, I want to say, like, AAA. No, it wasn't AAA. They had one in Mexico. That was part of the Super J Crown.
Okay.
NWA middleweight champion. But, yeah, real interesting. I think ACH did a great job of selling his ribs. He had a thigh injury that was all taped up, so he did a good job there. But it's weird because, like, he has his thigh injury, but he's hopping over the top rope, landing on the apron like it's nothing.
Right.
It's like, you gotta have that psychology. Like, it's all the way through. If you're limping, just because you can't limp and do like a crazy moonsault, because it doesn't work that way.
Right.
But I think overall the match itself was really good, and Austin Aries still collecting belts. So I wonder where he's gonna go next.
I don't know. It was cool though, seeing him walk up with all his belts. I was like, oh, here we go.
Next up, we had a tag team match. We had Barrington Hughes and Mike Parrow, who defeated Asaba and Vango Orgaton. What are your thoughts on Barrington Hughes? Barrington Hughes.
Where's my note? Oh, my note here was, what was he called? Something chocolate. It's like, oh, man, I heard the name, looked up, and I saw this guy. He could be on Jugs magazine. Like, dude's like just, I'm like, what the hell? But it was funny because when he splashed that guy to win, it was like, oh, he's winning. There's no kicking out from that. So that was good. I mean, yeah, it's fun to see a big fat guy in there.
You don't see them a lot these days.
No.
You don't see your Bundys and your Earthquakes anymore. So, they're bringing back old school. I wonder if he's Mr. Hughes' son, though.
I thought the same thing.
Like, he should have those sunglasses. Like, he wore sunglasses when he wrestled.
And the fedora.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. It looks like Hughes and Parrow. There's a couple of guys you would consider like they're going to be the MLW mainstays. Those are the guys that are going to be on every show, and those two guys seem like they're going to be on every show. So
yeah.
Essentially a squash match. Eventually they're going to have tag team titles, so those guys will probably be right in the picture. So I like Barrington Hughes. I think he's awesome. He's so good. He's so good. Next up, we have the first of 4 MLW World Heavyweight Title tournaments. This is the first round. We had Jimmy Havoc, who took on MJF. I love MJF, by the way. I think he's awesome.
I liked him too. He was good.
He was good. Jimmy Havoc, not so much.
Yeah, I'm not a big fan, but I knew he was going to win when they were like, he flew in all the way from England. And I'm like, oh, he's winning. They're not bringing a guy in for one match.
No, not at all. I think it was a good match overall. I liked it. I think they had good pacing, and I think their timing was really, really tight. But I'd rather see MJF win here. But what are you gonna do?
I see him as a future heel for them down the line. He has good lines.
He's actually from Long Island.
Really?
He has WWE written all over him, by the way.
Yeah,
he's gonna make it there. That's someone they would really like. He's gonna be the Miz in 5 or 6 years, I think.
Could be.
I find it ridiculous that he wears tights to the ring, but he has a scarf on. He's keeping his neck warm, but then he's not wearing a shirt. So I find that awesome. We have the next round. The next match up is Shane. Don't call me Rich Swan Strickland, who defeated Brody King. I like Shane Strickland a lot. I believe he was in the Cruiserweight tournament. I don't think he was one of the guys that didn't sign, I think.
Yeah, Brody King I liked a lot. I thought he was going to win.
I think overall the match, it served his purpose. I think Brody King is going to be a big deal. I think Shane Strickland's going to be a big deal. And I think for the overall show, I think it showcases a lot of guys that you don't really hear about, or against guys that you do hear about. There's a legend on the show. So what are your thoughts on Colonel Robert Parker making his debut?
Colonel Robert Parker needs money. I was like, oh, okay. But they
didn't overdo it. Like, they could have brought in like 3 or 4. That's Florida. How many old-timey wrestlers live in Florida? They all do. You know what I mean? So it wasn't like they brought in 5 or 6 legends for the show. They had one. He cut a little promo. He was going to be a manager. It's great. You know what I mean? So first, it's Colonel Parker. I love him. Next up, we had Tom Lawler, who defeated MVP. Now, MVP seems to be like their one, WWE star that they had that they're going to use regularly. But he put the older guy putting over the young guy, which is good stuff.
Yeah, and Tom Lawler, I remember him from MMA, don't I?
Yeah. He still does it.
Does he?
He goes back and forth.
So there's one comment I have for an overall, and this isn't to say that they should be getting on juice. But these guys need to hit the gym more often. There's a lot of guys who are really like just not looking peak. And I don't know
But
if it's just because...
that's that whole MMA look though. But you don't see jacked up guys at MMA.
No, but I think for the pros, you want to look a little more beefy.
Yeah.
And I get if he's doing both, but even so, like...
Because those guys end up having to cut weight much more than put it on. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
MVP looked good. I like MVP the guy more than I like MVP the wrestler.
Yeah.
Like his story is amazing. He spent time in prison and all that kind of stuff. Like I like him as a man. I love him as a wrestler. You know, he's all right. His gear bothers me. It's weird to me. I don't know why. He's wearing a what I consider what do you call it, like a scuba suit? Scuba suits?
Oh yeah, that's his sweatsuit essentially.
But you know he's always worn that. So, but I think good match. I think it really did put over Lawler here. So I like the fact at the end that he had the white belt and he put the white belt on top of MVP. I thought that was cool.
Oh, I missed that.
Yeah, like they had apparently MVP was training. He was training in jiu-jitsu and had his belt, and then Tom had his black belt. So at the end of the match, when he beat him, he got a white belt out and put a white belt on him. Like, oh, you're nothing. Next matchup is Matt Riddle, who defeated Jeff Cobb here. This should have been the main event, in my opinion. I understand why it's not the main event, but it should have been the main event because I think it was the best match on the card. Yes. Matt Riddle is a star. Matt Riddle is going to be a big deal in 5 years. He should be a big deal right now because I think he hits a lot of different demographics. The girls are going to love him. You can just tell already the girls are going to fall in love with him. Teenagers are going to dig him. They don't like his attitude. And then your older guys are going to like the fact that he's a legit shooter.
Yeah.
You know, and then Jeff Cobb is just a beast. Both guys, you know, MMA guys. So, you know, I think overall, fantastic match. Matt, what are your thoughts?
I enjoyed the match a lot. I thought it was a good blend of physical style, the friendship angle. I think the calling of the match was very well done because they even like towards the end when he went to the wrist lock and realized that it was like his friend's wrist, he's kind of like you can see the struggle. It was like that's a nice sell.
Yeah,
a lot of good moves. Yeah, the chemistry was there, and I like the he kept the whole bro thing going at the end.
If you would have rushed that could have been a turn job there.
Yeah,
they could have turned there, and
I always feel like if they did a thing where like it's not so much a Marginetti Michaels thing, but like let's say that they meet again another tournament and he beats him again, and then he beats him again, then you like have this thing where he keeps losing, he's building up, and then he can play the role of like I've gone easy on you and it's cost me, But I enjoyed that match a lot. That was a lot of that guy was Jeff Cobb was really good.
Yeah, match of the night for sure. If Riddle's gonna work with them fairly regularly, they're probably going to end up putting the belt on him.
Yeah, I can see that.
Because he goes against Lawler next, and it's Jimmy Havoc versus Strickland as the other on the other bracket.
Yeah.
So I can see a scenario where it's going to be Riddle versus Jimmy Havoc, or it's going to be Lawler versus Strickland. But I would be hot to try to put the belt on him. And put him because him versus Low Keys would be amazing, and I think that's what they should be working towards. Next up, we had a hardcore match. Now this is their big angle. They've been running this angle since their first show. So this is the big angle between Darby Allin and Sami Callihan. Hardcore match. I like Darby Allin a lot. I saw him and Matt Riddle and Gargano at an Evolve show. So, I'm fairly familiar with that. Sami Callihan, obviously, he's been around for a long time. Was in NXT for a while, too. Doing a weird hacker gimmick. It's so fucking strange what they did with him.
Does Sami Callihan realize that Sami Callihan's the name of a character on a soap opera?
Is it?
Yeah.
Which one?
It's a woman. Days of Our Lives. I only know it because of Scott. Scott would be like, "That's Sami Callihan." Oh, yeah, okay.
So, what are your thoughts on this match?
It was good, but again, my whole thing about the holds and like, the devastating finish are like, there were 3 or 4 times it should have ended the match, and it's like, if you're not gonna do it, don't go there. Save that. Because then you save that spot for a match down the line. And people go, whoa! Instead of being like, whoa, oh, whoa.
Especially with that crowd who wasn't going to sell it either.
Right.
Like, you're not popping the crowd anyway, so it's no reason to do it.
I'll give you an example. I was watching WrestleMania 5 earlier today because I'm a nerd. Nerd! And it was the Strikeforce breakup. And I thought, wow, why wouldn't they just had Rick Martel turn and join Heenan family? Like, be like, you know what? Have Bobby even say like a week before, like, there's a Fiend in family knows how to win, get the best out of talent, and have him be like just sick of have him hit. Well, I don't know what his finisher was. I forget now. Rick Martel.
Martel's Boston Crab.
Oh right. Wouldn't really work, I guess. But he could have put him in it. I guess like caught him or whatever, and oh my god. But just when you save certain spots for crowds that appreciate it, you don't blow it on them. So, anyways, overall, it was a good card. I enjoyed it.
I thought it was a good card too. It's basically, if I was a booker, I'd probably book it the same way. You don't really hear that about wrestling cards. Like when we talk about some of these matches and some of these events, and a lot of guys, including myself, will go, "Well, I would have done it this way, and I would have done it this way, and I would have done it that way." There's nothing necessarily I would have changed about this show. I thought there may have been too many backstage brawls, but I think that's more of a necessary evil because they don't have TV like that.
Yeah.
So you're going right into the next event anyway. You had the spot at the end with the beer bottle.
Yes. Oh yeah, who was that guy?
That's Bad Boy Joey Janela.
Yeah, we would be like, oh my god, it's Bad Boy Joey Janela.
Like he's a big deal on the independent.
Who the fuck's Joey Janela? And why is he in jorts? God damn it.
Well, again, I think there has to be understanding that MLW is still a fairly niche product, and you're going to have pretty wide understanding of the independent circuits and who's on them.
Yeah.
Like if you're a person who watches, say, WWE all the time, you're like, who's that? Oh, MVP. Oh, who's that? So, I don't know if they should or they shouldn't really explain who these guys are or not for a mass audience, because I don't know if they really have a mass audience like that. Like last time I checked their reviews, because this match was free on YouTube, which is a great marketing tactic, by the way.
Yeah.
Fantastic job there, because you can order it, I think, like the day after. If you really want to see it, you can order it for like $5 and you can buy it, and you can download it, and then they're putting the shows up on YouTube a little bit later. To get them, like last time I checked their views, there were about 50,000 views. So,
oh, it's good.
That's pretty good. So I think what they should do in between, since they don't have television, is do like a lot of more like music video type things, and they've been doing a lot of promos in between and that kind of stuff. So it's 6 weeks between shows, approximately. So. I think overall it's a good show. I enjoyed it. Perfectly acceptable wrestling. No complaints. Not really any nitpicks either. Just good, solid wrestling. And if every independent was like this, the world would be a better place. They're doing a really great job over there. All right, next up, we're going to go through some of the cards at Showdown at Shea. Since this event that you're currently watching is our Showdown at Shea show. We'll start in, there's 3 Showdown in Shea shows, and this is for the WWF. It was at Shea Stadium, by the way, for those of you who don't know what we're talking about. The 3 events were held in 72, 76, and 80. The first one was in 1972. It was September 30th. The attendance was 22,508. And the matches are as follows. You had Little Beaver and Little Louie, who defeated Pee Wee Adams and Sonny Boy Hayes. El Olympico, who defeated Chuck O'Connor by disqualification. Notes: Chuck O'Connor went on to be Big John Studd. This was his rookie year. Jack Briscoe defeated Mr. Fuji. Gorilla Monsoon defeated Ernie Ladd via referee's decision after they fought to a 20-minute time limit draw. Chief J Strongbow and Sonny King defeated Lou Albano and The Spoiler. The Fabulous Moolah defeated Debbie Johnson. And this match was for the World's Women's Championship. And the WWF champion, Pedro Morales, fought Bruno Sammartino to a curfew draw. They went 75 minutes. And apparently, George Steele came to ringside doing shenanigans. I believe Pedro was in a feud with George Steele at the time. This is back when George Steele was a heel, folks, not the line and that shit.
Green tongue.
Can you believe that? I know everyone will put over the NWA champions for doing all these time limit draws. But can you believe that fucking Bruno and Pedro went 75 minutes?
That is crazy.
That's insane to me. I'm curious about why they had, obviously you have Bruno and Pedro, right? That's the big draw. Right. But I'm curious about, they only drew 22,500. And that's not much more than the Garden. Maybe the Garden wasn't available for that night.
Oh, it could be, yeah.
Maybe they're having a Billy Joel concert because he does 50 of them a year at the Garden.
Piano Man! We do 80s, we do 90s, Billy Joel. Exclusively. Play Piano Man, Uptown Girl. I said. Sorry.
Amazing. Next up, Showdown and Shea 1976. This was June 25th of 76. The attendance was 32,000 folks. Even this was on the same date that it was Inoki versus Ali.
Frankenstein. Or if the world's greatest fighter meets the world's greatest martial art wrestler. And you should see every theater's going to be packed. They'll be lined up. $100, $200, $300.
It's money that induces Muhammad Ali to fight a Japanese wrestler. And the super showman gives a great pre-bout performance.
Look at him, too nervous to eat meat. Can't even get the food in this thing right. The spoon almost missed his mouth. No kidding, look at him. Look at him, having trouble getting the food. I don't blame you, boy. I'd be scared too, fighting somebody as crazy as I am. What are you laughing about? He can have her. He's just laughing. You didn't... Man desires to understand that which he cannot understand. He likes to be mystified. Tell him that Count Dracula meets the Wolfman on Horror Mountain, the line will be 50 miles long. Tell him that there's some shark named Jaws eating people up. Outsell all the movies. First man wanted to go to the moon. For years, he wanted us on the moon. He went back and paid $10 billion for 2 rocks. Came back. Now he don't give a damn about the moon. Now he wants to know what's on Mars. Man wants to go up. He always wants to seek in knowledge. This happens from infancy. Little babies, always trying to walk before the time. They love to see blood in this civilization. They like to go to watch a car race, wanting to see it, not wanting to see somebody get killed. They love. Now they will be mystified, and now they will all be waiting. Can you interpret such knowledge? Most boxers can't talk. Joe Frazier, George Foreman, if they were here, are you gonna go shape like that? I knock him out. I mean, they took a shape. I mean, runs his mouth every day. I eat raw steaks and for most fighters, they go to promote a fight. He go take a picture of some flowers, and he'll smell the flowers. George Foreman, Joe Frazier put on blonde wigs to promote their fight. One was George Washington, black as he is, called himself George Washington. They couldn't make me do nothing that silly, but that's all they can do. They're illiterate. But I'm wise. I have an imagination. So I'm gonna lay around the ropes and pop him on his nose, and if he should ever take me down, I'll grab the rope. Then I get back up on his behind and shake it off and dance again. Pop, pop, build my points up. Pop, one of each round gets 5 points. Loser gets 4 less. Just stick him in his nose and keep popping the ropes. Pop, pop, keep hailing the ropes. And if he tackle me again, grab the rope.
And that's just what he does.
We had mentioned that on our Inoki Ali show that a lot of the promoters around the country would have wrestling matches, and then for the main event, they would bring down giant screens and show Inoki and Ali from Japan.
You speak English?
Oh, little.
He's in trouble. Trouble.
Oh, quite. I can do. Thank you very much.
He's in trouble. Inoki, down. Inoki must fall. I am the real champion. I shall destroy. Anoki must fall because I'm the greatest in the world. Hey, tell Anoki I'm gonna knock him out. Hey, tell Anoki I'm gonna knock him out. Well, let me tell you just how I'm gonna knock him out. He must fall. He must fall in round 8.
How about your condition?
Huh?
Condition.
Condition's good. Good condition. Weights down. Very serious.
なんとなく機嫌
And
が悪
I
いような
want the
感じです。
people to come to this fight early because I believe it's going to end pretty fast. The first hard punch that I get on Ganoki, square here, the first time I can land a good fast 1-2 punch, Anoki will fall. Anoki shall fall. The minute I hit Anoki like I hit George Foreman, like I hit Joe Frazier, Anoki shall fall. He will
ありがとうござい
fall.
ました。ただいまエレベーターの向か
I
っておりま
predict
す。
to all the people in Japan, I shall destroy Anoki. Anoki should have stayed in wrestling. He never should fight a serious boxer. He is out of his class because I am too fast. I predict that I
私は
shall
今、親衛隊の
destroy
周りに囲まれて
Anoki.
おります。
No hard feelings against my Japanese fans, but I'm after Anoki. Anoki.
だんだん視線が鋭くなってきました。非常に怖い顔でございます。向かっております。今、エレベーターに乗ろうとしております。今、会場に向かうアリの姿です。
Tell Anoki, I will soon be there.
視線が非常に強い視線です。ちょっとの一緒に乗り込みたい感じですね。
He's in trouble. He's in trouble. He's in trouble. Wrestler is going to beat me. I am the greatest fighter of all times. The greatest fighter. Anoki will fall.
Right.
Shall he fall?
He'll fall. Inoki will go
Anoki
down.
shall fall.
That's right.
モハメッド・アリが使用禁ずるというんですが、歌い上げてますね。止めどもなく出てくるわけです、言葉が。
He's beating the greatest fighter of all times.
ちょっとしまったようですね、顔が。
What will happen if Muhammad Ali gets his arm twisted? What will happen if you pick up Muhammad Ali and slam him? What will happen if he stomps Muhammad Ali? What will happen if he chops him on the neck? What will happen if he jumps on the ropes and drop kick him? They desire, I predict that this will outsell the Frazier fight, outsell the Foreman fight, all the fights in the history. This will be a bigger crowd that's ever been seen anywhere on earth when I destroy you.
So on this show, we had Ivan Putski, who defeated Baron Mikel Cicluna. Jose Gonzalez, also known as Vader #1, fought Kevin Sullivan, and they went to a time limit draw. They went 20 minutes. Chief J Strongbow and Billy White Wolf, who, by the way, is General Agnon from 1991 WWF, defeated the Executioners 1 and 2. Now, this was a 2 out of 3 fall match for the WWF World Tag Team Championship. We had Andre the Giant, who defeated Chuck Wepner in a boxer versus wrestling match.
Chuck Webner.
He was writing the Ali match for a long time.
Yeah.
Chuck Wepner being the inspiration for Rocky. I think that would come out sometime that year, if I'm not mistaken. And this is the big angle match here was Bruno Sammartino, who defeated Stan Hansen by countout for the world title. I believe this is Bruno coming back from the neck injury.
Yeah, so he beat him into pulp.
Well, Stanson broke his neck, like legitimately broke his neck.
Really?
Yeah. They tried to say it was the lariat that did it, but it was really a body slam that did it. But they sold it as, Stan Hansen with the lariat, the clothesline.
Break the guy's neck with a body slam.
He landed it on his fucking head when he slammed him.
What a douchebag.
Yeah, I love Stan Hansen, by the way. And then obviously the main event was Inoki versus Ali in that fucking shit show. Unfucking believable. And the final Showdown at Shea, this was 1980, June 9th, 1980 to be in fact, and it drew 36,295. That's a huge number. You had the Hangman, who defeated Rene Goulet. You had Ivan Putski, who defeated the unpredictable Johnny Rodz. Angel Mervilla, who defeated Jorge Estrada. The Fabulous Moolah and Beverly Shade defeated Candy Malloy and Peggy Lee. I wonder if that's Peggy Lee Leather or not. You had Dominic DeNucci, who defeated the Baron, Miguel Cicluna. Greg Gagne, who defeated Rick McGraw. Strange to see Greg Gagne on a WWE show and a WWF show in 1980, but it's a big fucking deal. Pat Patterson, who defeated Tor Kamada by disqualification. Tatsumi Fujinami, who defeated Chavo Guerrero. This was for the WWF Junior Heavyweight Championship. Antonio Inoki, who defeated Larry Sharp. And this was for the WWF World Martial Arts Heavyweight Championship. Andre the Giant defeated Hulk Hogan in a singles match.
Oh.
Tony Atlas defeated Ken Patera by count out. This is for the Intercontinental Championship. This is when Ken Patera was the champion.
Oh, bravo.
WWF champion Bob Backlund and Pedro Morales defeated the Wild Samoans, Afa and Sika 2-0. Apparently they won the tag belts, but then had to give them back for some reason. I don't know. It was weird. Like they beat them 2 straight and everything.
Wow.
And then Bruno Sammartino defeated Larry Zbyszko in the steel cage match and one of the biggest feuds in the history of wrestling, the teacher versus student feud, which is a great match. I've never seen this whole show. I've seen bits and pieces of this show.
Yeah.
Like I've seen Hogan and Andre, Atlas Patera, Backlund and Morales versus the Samoans, and Bruno and Larry Zbyszko. I wonder if they taped the rest of it. Like I want to see Greg Gagne versus Rick McGraw. And Tatsumi Fujinami versus Chavo Guerrero.
Oh, Greg Gagne. Now, but with Greg Gagne, was he still skinny and twerpy?
He never was big. Remember when he was wearing fatigues and he thought he was Rambo? Because he went to Camp Slaughter and Slaughter made him into a real man.
Yes. That was on today, by the way.
Was it? ESPN Classics?
AMC.
Really? It's funny because they don't run their good TV. Like, they run, like, their shitty 80s TV. Like, the AWA is awesome, like, in the 70s and the early 80s. Like, they were fantastic. You know, pre-Hogan's departure, right?
Right.
You watch some of that shit from, like, 88.
Team Challenge. Oh.
You have team challenges. You have, like, their rosters depleted. Yeah, Larry Zbyszko with nunchucks.
Spike Huber.
John Nord. Like that John Nord and Scott Norton as like lumberjacks and shit.
Yeah.
It's fucking weird stuff. Like, this is what happens. This is when you know wrestling companies are about to fall apart. Because at a certain point, they stop being a wrestling company and they start being a parody of a wrestling company.
Yes.
Because the AWA tried all kinds of fucking gimmicks and shenanigans, and instead of really kind of, you know, you have Wrestler A who's in a personal issue with Wrestler B. Like, it was more, I wouldn't want to say juvenile, but it was cheese. It was corny. And like, and to be corny in the late 80s was extremely difficult because the late 80s in general are corny as hell.
Right.
You know, very saccharine, very, you know, ridiculous, very early Bart Simpson. Like, it's very ridiculous. And to be the most ridiculous thing in an era that's ridiculous is completely ridiculous. You know, it's like, like, obviously you had like Rockers versus Doug Summers and Buddy Rose matches and stuff like that, but you have like the Patriot. I think the Patriot was there, and
Del Wilkes, yeah.
We'll do a whole show on the AWA at some point.
Yes.
Got a lot of shit to say. Fuck Lord James Blears, by the way.
Yes.
And that fucking bastard Stanley Blackburn. I hate those guys.
Stanley Blackburn.
Do you remember the AWA action figures?
Yes.
Like, they looked like He-Mans. They looked like He-Man, the Master of the Universe action figures, but they had wrestler heads on it. And like, they had Hulk Hogan, and Hulk Hogan would even work there. They had Hulk Hogan and Ric Flair because they gave no shits. He had Hulk Hogan, you had Ric Flair, you had the Road Warriors, you had the Freebirds, you had the Fabulous Ones, and I think that was about it.
Yeah.
Those go for a pretty penny nowadays. Those are not cheap. I was looking at them yesterday, like $20 to $25. And it's like, no thanks. I'll pass.
How much is the Greg Gagne action figure?
I don't think they made one.
Oh, poor Greg.
Greg is funny. Like, you gotta watch some of his interviews because he claims, like, he makes ridiculous claims.
Nice.
Like, he invented Saturday Night's Main Event. WWF stole it from him. He invented the NWO. He invented UFC. No, those are claims that he has made. He made those claims. And you look at him like you're bananas. You're insane. I love you for that, but you're nuts, Greg.
Yeah.
Never gave him the belt in the AWA, huh? Just nope. Never made him world champion.
Title, didn't he?
He had tag team. Yeah. With
tag team. I think he had a TV belt at one point.
With Jumping Jim Brunzell as his partner.
Yes.
Who's like the ugliest motherfucker on the planet. Like those, the Gagne Brunzell versus Adonis and Ventura matches are really fun to watch. And just watching Adonis and Jesse cut promos is amazing all on its own. But all right, so guys, that's Showdown at Shea in a nutshell. The first two, I couldn't find any footage of those, so I think there's footage of Andre and Wepner out there and Bruno and Hansen, maybe, but I couldn't really find them. So I like to watch whole shows because if you watch matches individually, you don't get a sense of the entire show. So
yeah,
what are you gonna do there? In the news today, did you hear that JBL apparently bringing a rugby team to New York?
No.
Apparently there's going to be a rugby league.
Oh boy.
Why didn't Vince get involved in the rugby league? Because he probably had better success in a rugby league than he would in the XFL.
Yeah.
I don't understand. Not to beat a dead horse here. I don't understand how people think it's going to be successful.
Oh, I don't think it. I think it'll be a train wreck. People are lining up to watch it.
I don't think it'll even launch.
I wouldn't be surprised that happened.
I don't think it'll even launch. The amount of money for today, this is not 2000, 2001, 2002. The amount to launch a competitive league to the NFL, the NFL is like a billion, tens of $1 billion, hundreds of $1 billion entity. You're not going to be able to compete. You're not going to be able to get talent. You're not going to be able to get access to adequate stadiums. Is there going to be a union? How are you going to pay these guys? What kind of precautions in terms of safety will you be using here? There's so much stuff there. It's like It's like, oh, he's made money in wrestling. He's a genius in wrestling. He's a genius wrestling promoter. I give him that. But it's like Michael Jordan going to baseball. Michael Jordan could not hit baseball. Hasn't done well with his movies. Hasn't done well with his record label. Hasn't done well with the WBF. Hasn't done well with the XFL before. Didn't do well with that Sugar Ray Leonard fight that he promoted. Didn't do well with his hockey team that he had. That Ico Pro, people. Ico Pro.
Oh, man.
Motherfucking Ico Pro, son. I'm not giving him my millions of dollars to invest. Sorry. Unbelievable. Apparently, Triple H is going to be taking over the majority of the work for the WWE, which is only good things.
That is good, yeah.
That's good. We're real happy about that. My curiosity is that I wonder what some of the issues that they're having right now has to do more with the influence of USA Network over the WWF, and maybe that's why they kind of want to get out of that deal with them, because it's coming up for expiration, and they're actually trying to find another network. Obviously, they're doing their due diligence to get the most money they can, but I think maybe USA has a little bit too much input because they're the reason why the McMahons are on TV at all. They have that third hour of TV, and I don't think the WWE wants it. I think they want to go back to 2 hours, and I think it's a USA Network mandate. There's also been talk recently that they're not going to do brand splits on the pay-per-views anymore, and they're going to do less of them. They want to do 4-hour pay-per-views now.
Oof.
I don't understand why no one wants to watch a 3-hour Raw. No one's going to want to watch a 4-hour pay-per-view. The way I would do it is I would eliminate those pay-per-views and just rebrand them as either Clash of the Champions or Saturday's main events. Change the expectation on those. You don't have to call it Saturday's main event. You don't have to call it Clash of Champions, but something of that ilk, something of that. You don't want to retread old shit again, but I would call it Saturday's main event. Next up, I want to get some of our thoughts. We're going to give you some of our thoughts on one of my favorite wrestlers of all time, the incomparable Terry Funk.
Here in the dressing room at Miami Beach at Convention Hall, I have with me now the new NWA World Heavyweight Champion, Terry Funk. The man who lived in the shadow of his brother for over 4 years has finally achieved that pinnacle, the World Heavyweight Wrestling Championship. And may I just say congratulations.
Thank you very much, Gordon. It's the proudest day of my life. Naturally it is.
Well, I might just say this, of course, that Jack Briscoe and the NWA, when they agreed to allow Terry Funk to substitute for his brother, Dory Funk Jr., Jack Briscoe also had a return clause in the contract saying that in the event he lost, you would meet him this coming Tuesday in Tampa at the Armory.
Now, wait 1 second. I was under the assumption that I was going to go ahead and have the return match in Amarillo, Texas.
No, the champion stated in the contract itself that he had his choice of locations.
In Tampa, I've got to wrestle the man in a rematch in Tampa.
That is exactly correct.
Not Amarillo?
No, sir.
Well, I'll tell you one thing is I like the people of Florida. I love the people of Florida. But I'm countrified, and I'm Texas's pride. And first of all, I'm going to defend this belt for my mother's state of Texas. And I'll come down there and I'll wrestle a man in Tampa. And I'll tell you what, I intend on being something that Jack Briscoe never was. And that's an offensive champion, not a defensive champion, not the kind of champion that continues to run to the ropes constantly during the match like Briscoe has done. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to take the fight to this man and prove to you people that I will be the finest champion that this world has ever seen in professional wrestling.
Well, of course, at one point in the match when the referee was injured, he did have you pinned for easily a 5 count.
I don't recall that at all. I don't recall that.
Well, thank you so very much. There you have it, the new NWA World Heavyweight Wrestling Champion, Terry Funk.
So, Matt, what are your thoughts on Terry Funk?
Well, I think he did a damn fine job in Roadhouse.
My man was in Roadhouse. He was in Over the Top. He was in Paradise Alley. He was the fight choreographer for Rocky V. That's why he sees the Vessels Alone hit a German suplex out of nowhere. It's fucking weird. But I think for me...
This is the $10,000 gold and diamond-studded NWA World Heavyweight Wrestling Championship belt. The owner of that belt right now, another member of the famous Funk family, Terry Funk. I'm Gordon Soley, and it's my pleasure to have the new world champion with me at this time. It was on December 10th in Miami Beach, at the Miami Beach Convention Hall before a capacity crowd, that Terry Funk did the one thing that no other wrestler has been able to do in the past 2.5 years. And that was to pin the shoulders of Jack Briscoe for a count of 3. And certainly, congratulations are in order.
Well, thank you very much, Gordon. And I want to say that I hope that I can represent professional wrestling as its world champion in a right and respectful way. Ever since I can remember, my father, the late Dory Funk Sr., was a professional wrestler, and I've been going to wrestling matches ever since I was just knee-high. And as I was growing up, I didn't want to be a doctor or a lawyer. I had no wishes to be this. What I wanted to be is I wanted to be world's champion someday, and it's a dream that has been fulfilled. Dory Funk Jr. held the world's heavyweight championship longer than any other man. He held it for 4.5 years. Then, and during that time, I was kind of the forgotten man in professional wrestling because I couldn't wrestle for the world's heavyweight championship with him holding it, but I was proud that it was in the family. Later on, he lost that belt to Mad Dog Harley Race, and after that, Harley Race lost it to Jack Briscoe. I was chasing it constantly, and finally I got Jack Briscoe in the ring, and I did defeat him with an inside cradle in 28 minutes. It was the biggest thing in my life, and I might add, too, that it's the first time that two brothers has ever held the NWA World's Heavyweight Championship.
That's exactly right. This did make wrestling history that night, that fateful night of December 10, 1975. And Terry, I know that you were very, very happy about it, and I know if your dad were here, he'd be extremely proud of you.
Well, thank you very much, Gordon. I didn't really realize just how much 3 seconds could change one man's life. But whenever I put Briscoe's shoulders down for that 3 seconds, it definitely changed mine. It changed mine to making over $250,000 per year. It changed my life from being the hunter to becoming the hunted immediately. I know what it's like now, and I intend on being an offensive champion, the type of champion that goes ahead and takes a fight to a man and wrestles all opponents and all challengers. I intend on doing this, and I'm going to do it to the best of my ability, which I think is pretty doggone good. I think I'm a good wrestler, and I think I'll be something that you people can be proud of, and I intend on representing you to the best of my ability.
Thank you so very much. There you have it, the new NWA World Heavyweight Champion from Amarillo, Texas, Terry Funk.
And you look over the course of his career, and he was able to reinvent himself. But he's always been someone that, number one, is probably one of the best promos of all time. And I say that because he's able to have different types of interviews. You know, like Hogan has like the Hogan promo, right? You can only cut that Hogan promo. Flair, to a degree, can only cut that Flair type promo, although he's able to mix it up. But Terry Funk, he can come at you and gain sympathy in an interview and talk really softly and really kind of like, I want to win it for my family. Or he can be a raving lunatic and he can be swearing and he can take it so many different places. And I think that's one of the reasons he may have been tapped by Hollywood to come in and be an actor, because he's able to show a full range, a full spectrum of emotions throughout, you know, his different interviews, and they're always kind of different.
Terry Funk, World Heavyweight Champion, recognized by...
Easy, oh, so easy. Oh, so easy. Did you see that combination? Suplex and pile driver at the same time. Wasn't that beautiful? Do you realize that I just successfully came back from a tour in Japan where I competed against the best they had to offer, and I defeated each one of them successively. Do you realize in 7 months' time, just in 7 short months, that I have become the greatest champion ever, except for my brother Dory Funk Jr., who's probably one of the finest fellows to put on a pair of scientific tights, put on a pair of tights. And he told me, he says, Terry, he says, just shortly, he says, you're going to be better than I ever was, better than I ever dreamed of. And I agreed with him because that's my goal. I want to keep this World's Heavyweight Championship for oh so long. And after I keep it, I want to go ahead and be the first professional wrestler to retire with this right here around my waist.
In other words, you've set the same goal that frankly your brother set. He too wanted to retire undefeated. That didn't happen. Harley Race defeated him. Jack Briscoe in turn
Jr. was pushing the match, which is besides the point. What is the point right now is I have this World's Heavyweight Championship, and you people can't find anybody good enough to beat me. You might think you've got somebody, but remember, I'm a second-generation wrestler. My father was a tremendous athlete, but the one thing that he did have was great guts, great desire, and Junior, with his scientific ability, you put the two together, and I just can't name anybody that can compete with me offhand. I know there's some great wrestlers in the world today. I know they're potential threats. I know that all they got to do is put my shoulders down to that mat for a 3 count. And if it hits 3, their whole destiny is changed. They become the greatest. They become the hunted, not the hunter.
And that's exactly, of course, what you are now. You are the hunted. The top men in every area in the world are looking to defeat you.
Can't do it, Phil Gordon. I can't do it. Won't be able to.
Here's a young man with fantastic ability, great skill, no question about this. Many times highly controversial, stops at nothing to win a match, and obviously you don't care.
Just a minute, I go ahead and I wrestle. I wrestle whenever I get in the ring, and I do my best as a wrestler, as an offensive type of wrestler, and I never use the ropes, or I never run from any opponent because I am the best the world has to offer.
Thank you very much. The National Wrestling Alliance NWA World Heavyweight Wrestling Champion, 252 pounds of fighting fury. You see him here, Terry Funk.
Not afraid of getting heat.
Estamos. Bájale, que baje la mano el camarógrafo para saber si estamos en queue. Que baje la mano él.
What have I got to do? Stand out here all night?
Wait a minute. No, please, Terry. No, come on, Terry. Please, Terry, please. Okay, we're going to start right now. No. Okay, wait a minute, Terry. Dame cue, ¿sí? Que baje la mano el camarógrafo para saber. Amigos televidentes, estamos aquí con Terry Funk cuando sale al aire el programa. Ya es domingo. Quiero que sepan que acaba Terry Funk de pasar a la final derrotando a Rick Martel, lo que quiere decir que en breves horas se enfrentará a Carlitos Colón. When this program airs, Terry, it's already Sunday, which means that in a couple of hours you're going for the finals against Carlos Colón for the Universal title.
In a couple of hours, do you realize the group of people that I had to wade through for this opportunity, this once-in-a-lifetime champ against Carlito Colon? But I have beaten the toughest competition. I have beaten Rick Martel. I have beaten Barry Windham. And now who have I got? I have got Carlito Colon. I said it before, that this island here is nothing more than a giant pig farm. That's right, a pig farm. Nothing but pigs live here. So how could you possibly have a world-class wrestler in Carlos Colon? I'm going to go in there, chew him up, and spit him out because I am a Texan. I'm meaner than a rattlesnake, tougher than shoe leather, more dangerous than a hollow-eyed scorpion. Middle-aged and crazy, brother. Middle-aged and crazy. And the next, that's right, the next Universal Champion. I will never return to Puerto Rico ever again. How do you like that? Never will I ever return to Puerto Rico because you people have absolutely not a gut in your body. You're yellow pig. Pig, yellow pig. I'm the new champion.
Bueno, amigos, este señor, la verdad, yo no quiero meterme en problemas, yo no soy luchador. Este señor dice que pasó a la final derrotando a los mejores luchadores del mundo. Dice que va a pasar sobre Carlitos Colón en breves segundos, en breves horas contra Carlitos Colón.
Let me talk to the Puerto Rican people. I want to talk their language, yes. I know a foreign language. I want to talk to you Puerto Ricans. Oink, oink. Oink, oink, I'm sure you yellow pigs understand that. And I'm going to show you what a slob, a puke-faced idiot.
Bueno, amigos, la verdad que Terry Funk no me deja ni traducir. Will you let me translate to the people? Wow, señores, yo trato de hacer mi trabajo. Este señor falta de respeto a uno. Vamos a tratar de traducir lo que él dijo, que en breves horas él va a pasar sobre Carlitos Colón, que él pasó sobre Barry Windham, que él también derrotó, bueno, dice que derrotó también a Ricky Martel y que todos aquí son unos puercos, que Carlitos es un puerco. Le habló en ese idioma, perdóneme si no puede traducir mucho. En breves horas irá Carlitos.
You know, he said some crazy shit in Puerto Rico that I'm surprised he made it off the island alive.
Yeah, you told me about that.
Yeah.
I think Terry Funk was one of the more underutilized talents in the 80s. I still think his feud with Flair is one of my favorites.
Yeah.
It's a beautifully set up way to bring a veteran back and inject him right into a storyline without a lot of, like, working away. Like, just, you know, Mr. Flair, I'd love to have a title shot. Yeah, whatever, Terry. Pile driver through a table.
Ladies and gentlemen, we have seen history in the making here this afternoon in Nashville. For the 6th time, I want to present, ladies and gentlemen, number 6, the heavyweight champion of the world, Nature Boy Ric Flair. I think also we have to give credit where credit is due Ricky the Dragon Steamboat and Ric Flair both competed in one of the greatest matches that any of us, I think, have ever witnessed. Champ, congratulations.
Thank you very much. Not in character for Ric Flair, but Rick Steamboat is the greatest champion I've ever faced. And I'm proud to be here for a 6th time.
Hey, Rick. I want to be the first to congratulate you on being the new world's champion.
Terry, thank you very much. We do appreciate the judges being here.
Hey, Rick, I also want to say that if it would have gone 60 minutes, that I would have liked to have, I would have voted for Ric Flair, because I think that you're the greatest wrestler in the world today.
Very nice. Thank you very much, Terry. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Terry.
You know, champ, it went past 35, 40 minutes. It was nip and tuck both.
You know, I would also like to go ahead, and I'd also like to go ahead and be the first one to challenge Ric Flair to that new championship.
Well, Terry, I'm honored that you'd like to get in the picture, but as the wrestling fans know, you've been an active, you've been in Hollywood, Sylvester Stallone, while I've been being the world champion. And we got a top 10. We got a top 10 that the world champion is obligated to wrestle. And that's why we are number 1.
Wait a minute. Are you really saying that I'm not a contender?
No, what I'm saying, Terry, is that you are a great wrestler, but right now you're rubbing shoulders with Sylvester Stallone and not the world champion.
No. I was just asking, do you think that I'm not good enough? You're saying that I'm not good enough, aren't you, Rick?
I'm not saying that at all, Terry.
Yes, you are.
If you want me to look you in the eye and tell you that I got a problem with wrestling a guy that's been out in Hollywood for 5 years, it's the bottom line, bud. I'm looking at the top 10, and you're not in the top 10.
No, Rick, hold it.
Let me conclude this by saying thank you. I'm honored, everybody. Win, lose, or draw, Ric Flair.
No. Rick, please, let me just say one more thing. I was just kidding you about going ahead and wanting to challenge you. I didn't want to really challenge you. I was just kidding you. So, dadgummit, let's go ahead.
That was beef. Yeah. Thanks, guys. Hey! Terry Funk attacking Nature Boy Ric Flair. This is totally uncalled for.
There it is.
He's someone that can make you laugh. Like, he can be funny, he can be silly, and then in a split second be very menacing.
Right.
And be downright scary. You know, he started back in 1965, and up until recently, he's had some health issues as of late. The man's 73 years old.
Right.
He's had some health issues as of late, but he's been wrestling as recent as last year. You know, does crazy stuff. You know, he attended West Texas University, which is now West Texas A&M University, which is all the West Texas wrestlers played there. So Tully Blanchard, Tito Santana, Dusty Rhodes. Dick Murdoch claims he went to school there, but you can't find him on the records.
Oh, Dick Murdoch.
Dick Murdoch.
Captain Redneck.
Captain Redneck. Terry Funk won the NWA World Title in 1975. He defeated Jack Briscoe to win that, and it was in Miami, Florida. They did a switcheroo, which is kind of fucked up if you think, but it played perfectly. So the advertised match was Jack Briscoe versus Dory Funk. They've been feuding for a million years. Dory couldn't make it, so Terry took the spot. Terry wins the belt. So it gives Jack an excuse about why he lost the belt, because he was preparing for Dory and not Terry.
Right.
And you know, especially because he lost it in Florida. Held the belt for 14 months. He defended the belt all over the world. Australia, Japan, Singapore. Lost the belt to Harley Race in Toronto, Canada. Harley Race having the distinction of beating both Funk brothers for the NWA World Title.
That is a good distinction, actually.
Yeah. In terms of classic Terry Funk moments, and there's so many, we can do hours and hours and hours of really great Funk moments. But one of the ones that stick out to me is the empty arena match. Him versus Jerry the King Lawler.
Where is Lawler? I told you that the son of a didn't have enough guts to come on down here. I said that the man has everybody on his side.
We would like to use this if it takes place later on, so please watch your language, will you? Because for crying out loud, we can't use a thing with you swearing like that.
I don't give a damn. I came up here for a purpose to prove some son of a thing. And I'll tell you what I came to prove, that Lawler didn't have the guts. I knew that he wouldn't come in the ring, Lance. You tell me where he is. He wouldn't show up for nothing.
It's just a little after 1 o'clock right now. So just watch it, and please try to watch it.
Go ahead, get in the damn ring and go ahead and count him out.
I'm not counting. I'm not the referee in this thing. You asked me to bring the cameras down.
You count him out of the son of a right now.
Hey, come on, Terry.
I told you people that Lawler did not have the guts to come down here before an empty arena, and he doesn't. Now you go ahead and count him out. If you don't, I'll count him out.
All right. Well, you just asked us to bring the cameras down. That's what I did. We're here. Now I'm not a referee.
I'm here.
I know
I'm going to go ahead. Is he under the ring, Lance?
Oh, he's not under the ring. He hasn't.
Is he up in the stand?
He hasn't shown up yet.
Press box? Where is he?
I don't know where he is.
Enough damn guts to come down here and meet me in the ring. I'm going to count him out. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. He's out. I'm going to go ahead and declare myself the winner right now.
Okay, fine. That's great.
The man was a coward, that he didn't have the guts, that he didn't have anything, that he didn't have the intestinal fortitude. He is a son of a
All right. Well, listen, okay, you proved your point on the thing.
I've heard long enough.
All right.
I've heard enough of your I've heard enough of the from the people of Memphis. I've heard enough from everybody about how good this man is supposed to be.
Well, it's just a little. He may have gotten tied up in traffic or something like that. I don't know.
Right now.
Yeah, I know it's after 1.
Now I'm standing around here like an idiot, like a fool.
Well,
I'm a
fool.
I'm a fool. I'm an idiot.
Okay, so you proved your point.
Thinks this kind of crap is funny. He thinks it's funny leaving me sitting around here like this. I knew that the man didn't have enough guts to get up here in the first place.
Yeah.
You tell me.
I tell you that there's a good possibility that he got tied up some way and wasn't coming in here.
Well, where am I?
I know. Your plane got in on time. I understand that, Terry. Yeah, I know that.
Why don't you go ahead? Why don't you think you're on his side all the time?
Hey.
Why don't you go ahead and come up in here?
I'm not interested in that. Will you knock that stuff off? Look, you're the one that... Hey, come on. Okay, now look, Terry. You asked me to come down here.
I'm a professional and an athlete, and you treat me with respect.
Hey, well, wait. I didn't... Okay, I didn't. I wouldn't mean anything personal by it, except give the guy a chance. It's just a couple of minutes past the time. You asked me to come down here and bring the cameramen down here. And we're here. And I'm here in the event that Lawler, we set up to show it and have the match in there. Now, we've done our part of the thing. And the fact that he's not here isn't my fault.
Well, look who's here.
There, over here, Randy.
Look who's there. Well, if it isn't the clown.
Okay, I'm going to get over here and get... I'm going to get...
Hey, Lawler! Come on up here. I'm going to break your crown. I'm going to break his crown, Lance. Look at that fool. Look at that idiot. Don't you realize that there's nobody here? You jack. You're nothing but
Jerry Lawler in his regular wrestling attire with a crown and the cape.
I can't believe that you had the guts to show up. I can't believe he had the guts
to
show up.
He's here, Terry.
I can't believe that he had the guts to show up.
Well, he's here, and he is apparently, obviously ready to go. He's got his full attire, and he is set.
Come on, Lawler. Come on.
We're going to get back over to...
Come on. Come on. What do you got in there? What do you got in there? What do you got? A gun or something on you? You got a knife? You got a knife on you? You got a gun on you? What have you got on you?
I need a gun for you, folks, and a knife. I need nothing.
Get back around the table here. Well, here he comes, ladies and gentlemen. We waited and waited. That's right. No referee. No officials.
Look up in the stands. Nobody's up in the stands. Nobody here is going to help me, and there's certainly anybody here that's going to help you. You idiot.
Terry Funk already in the ring. Jerry Lawler now coming up to the... We'll just have to take care of the language on this thing. Funk is just raving.
I'll give you a chance right now. I'll give you one chance. You can go ahead and get out of here right now if you want to. I'll give
Funk
you one
telling Lawler he'll give him one chance. He can leave right now if he wants to. There's no officials.
You admit to him that I'm a hell of a lot tougher than what you are. Go ahead, get on that microphone.
Terry Funk trying to get Lawler to come say that he's giving it up.
I don't need to talk, Lawler. I don't need to talk. Don't worry, I'm not running my mouth. I asked for this damn thing, not you. I asked for it. I'm here. Well, I'm right here.
Well, they're both in the ring right now. Unbelievable, 11,300 empty seats. Terry Funk. Jerry the King Lawler. Up, Funk just spin it, Lawler. They're flailing away. Lawler went into a side headlock. Funk back there, winding around the ring and outside of it right now. Terry Funk down on the floor, Lawler in the ring. This obviously is a battle to the finish. Funk telling Lawler to back up and let him in the ring. And now Terry Funk back in the ring again. Right in the corner by our timer's table. Lawler and Funk going at each other, hammer and tong, down on the mat for the first time. Funk out on the ring apron, and Lawler follows him out in the concrete. Our photographer, and there they go, back in the chairs. Funk down, Lawler pounded on him. Nothing but a street brawl happening right here, and that was the idea that Terry Funk had. Funk picks up 2 chairs, fires them over at Lawler. Terry Funk, Jerry Lawler facing off on the concrete floor. We brought our tape cameras and a still photographer down, and that's the only people that are here witnessing that. Funk down underneath the chairs. Lawler follows it up, comes right over on top of him. And Lawler pounds him. First good shot at. He really zoomed one home. Funk now backing up around the ring. Lawler chasing him out to the other side of the ring. Lawler saying, come on back up here. And Funk grabs one of the identification standards. He busts the top of it off, grabs the bracket with the number still in it. Jerry Lawler in the ring. Terry Funk coming up now, his face bleeding. Lawler really got him one shot over there, put him down in the chairs. Pounding away on Lawler. Lawler, who tried to get out, is knocked down to the floor. Funk throws the standard out. Look out, Ring. Funk now with a pile driver right down on the concrete floor. He bangs it in, blood running down Funk's nose and through his head. He's cut.
Let's see what the hell.
But Lawler down on the floor. He may be out of it with that pile driver down on the floor. Funk wanted Lawler to say, I quit on the microphone, is what he's trying to make him say. Funk going after Lawler at the eyes.
Now kill him!
I'm sure you can hear Terry Funk. What a vicious thing. Lawler goes right back into the rows of chairs. Funk knocks over the chairs with Lawler's body, and now Funk across the way slams down the steps leading up to the ring. Uh-oh, he's trying to get a club of some type. He busts off right in half one of the 2x4s. Lawler now trying to get back up, stumbles back into the chairs, but he's back on his feet, and here comes Funk with that spike in his hands. Slams Lawler down on the table. And Terry Funk standing completely wide open. This is awful. I see it. Yeah. All right, come on, Terry. All right. I got the microphone over here.
You asking?
Lawler.
Hey, watch this. Watch this.
Come on, Terry. It's all over with. Terry Funk climbing back up in the ring right now. Funk with the put the eight. Come on. Hey, come on.
Come on, Lawler.
Put that
Lawler.
Come on, Terry.
I'm gonna get his eye. I got his eye. Come on. I'm gonna get his eye. You don't tell me.
Well, be
you
with your hands. Don't do that.
I'm doing it too.
Terry, use your hands. Lawler fighting his way back has just slammed Terry Funk. Kicked him right in the elbow where he had it. Terry Funk is down now. Lawler back on his feet. Lawler picks up that stick that Terry Funk had.
My eyes!
Put it down now. The man's eyes. Oh.
I can't see! Doctor! Doctor! God help me! Help me, please help me! Help me!
That's right. His eyes hurt bad.
My eyes! My,
okay, we'll get some.
My eyes!
Terry Funk,
a
victim of his own plotting in there. Lawler kicked him right in the elbow, and the stick stuck Terry Funk right in the eye.
Lawler, please. Somebody get me help.
We got to get a doctor in here on this thing, because he really is. Oh, that's awful.
Get me help. Get me help.
And that, ladies and gentlemen, is exactly why
you
there are officials assigned to matches to try to keep some kind of order rather than have the animal type of thing that you saw here today. Jerry Lawler walks away, I guess, the victor out of it, but it's pretty difficult. Okay, listen, Randy, I'm gonna get. Okay, wait.
Call Dr. Lance, please. Go. Look at it, Lawler. Please look at it. Look at it. Look at it. Please. Help me, please.
Okay, I'll go call for it.
God, Lance, please don't leave me here.
I'll get somebody.
Don't leave. The son of a bitch. Get somebody to help me. My eye. My goddamn eye. My eye. Where is he? Where is Lawler? Where'd he go? Where is Lawler? My eye. Where is that chicken? Where's that damn coward? Where's Lawler? He's yellow. Lawler's yellow. He's yellow. Lawler, come back here. You yellow pig! Pig! Pig!
It may look tame to today's standards, but if you really look at that match, it's probably one of the most violent things ever to be shown on television. Uber realistic. Those guys just pounding the shit at each other. You can fucking hear it because there's no crowd. Terry Funk takes off a piece of wood from the stand, tries to stab Jerry Lawler in the eye. Like, he tries to poke out this man's eye. This is on television. And then Jerry gets out of it, kicks Funk's hand. Funk stabs himself in the eye. He's busted open, and he says what?
Lawler, where is he? Where's Lawler? He's yellow. Pig. It's still one of my favorites. I have friends we still will be like barbecuing. And be like, what do you want? Do you want a hamburger or pig? It's kind of obscure humor wrestling fans appreciate.
Yeah. Funk is complaining about his eye. That's obviously it's bleeding and my eye.
I'll tell you a fun fact. When I had a phone years ago, you could record your own audio.
Yeah.
So I recorded two things. One was Barry Windham with Jim Ross going, Barry, no! And the other was Lawler, pig! Lawler's yellow. So I got a call. It would start with that ringtone.
The nuance of that is that at first, Terry's upset. He's crying to Lance. He's begging Lance to get a doctor. And then after a minute or two, once Lawler leaves the picture, he starts cursing at Lawler, knowing that Lawler is not there, which is awesome. Both Funk brothers were the bookers for All Japan Pro Wrestling, and really kind of changed the style of wrestling over there, where they kind of ended up switching it up. Where for the longest time in Japan, it would be Japanese wrestler versus American wrestler, but they really switched it up, and they had Americans versus Americans, Japanese versus Japanese, and the Funks were basically like native talent over there in All Japan. The proof is in the pudding when Terry retired, and he does that really famous Forever promo. That's another thing about Terry Funk, that he would just retire all the time and come back. He's retired 30 times.
Yeah.
To now, it's a famous. He retired first in '83, and he just retired recently as 2018. So gives no shits.
All right, thank you, Gorilla Monsoon. With me right now, many think this individual is indeed one of...
You know what I'm going to do tonight is I'm going to step into that ring and I'm going to set an example with that Gator breath. And after I finish with him, I am going to look to those 20-some thousand people out there, and I'm going to say, you come to the ring with me, or you, because I'm going to make an example out of anybody that wants to be made an example of. And you, if you want to, you try me, because I am not the world's greatest wrestler, but what I am is I am the toughest man in the world, tougher than shoe leather. I am the meanest man in the world, meaner than a rattlesnake. And I am the most dangerous man in the world. And who do I want to know that? I want the junkyard dog to know that, because he's out there watching somewhere, and he's nothing but an ignorant jack.
All right, Gorilla Monsoon, back to you.
Terry ended up in the WWF in 1985. He did that angle with Mel Phillips, where Mel Phillips put on his cowboy hat and Terry Funk beat the piss out of him. And then he would brand his opponents with the branding iron. And then he feuded with the Junkyard Dog mostly during his time in the WWF. He had matches with Hogan, which are some of my favorite Hogan matches, the Hogan Funk matches. And to this day, I still believe that he should have main evented WrestleMania 2. Because you have the Hogan Funk dynamic, Hollywood, Sylvester Stallone, maybe guest referee.
Yeah.
That would have been sweet. Funk took some more time off, after he left the WWF in '86, ended up in WCW in '89, and started that famous feud with Ric Flair, and they went around and around, and...
Oh, let me tell you something, Jim Ross, and you simple-minded people. I had a dream last night. Oh, yes, and it was a beautiful dream. I dreamed that I was on the front porch of the Double Cross Ranch, and my father, who's long since gone, was there in a swing, swinging with me, and up drove a long black limousine, and the left front fender was dented in, and the door opened, and out stepped a beautiful lady, and my daddy said, "Woman, what happened to your left front fender?" And she says, "I ran over some kind of an animal on the road. I don't know what it was." My daddy said, "Well, what did it look like?" And she says, "Well, it had great big ears, and it had nostrils, big, huge nostrils, about 5 inches apart. And it had horse teeth, and it smelled real bad." And my daddy said, "My world, girl, you must have ran over a jackass." And I said, "What did it smell like?" She said, "It smelled like hairspray and cheap cologne. I said, woman, you didn't run over any jackass. You ran over Ric Flair. Is he dead? She says, no, but the last time I saw him, he was running scared. Well, let me tell you something, Ric Flair. You look at me in the eye because I am looking at you. You realize that you must live not in the future because there is none. You must live in the past. Give up that belt or I'll stick your neck out one more time for me. Stick it out for me, Flair. You gutless individual. I'm talking to you.
That's enough.
Stick it out. Stick it out.
We're not going to listen anymore to this, fans. We'll be back with the Steiners.
Funk is being managed by Gary Hart, which I don't really understand. He's hanging out with Muda, and he's part of the J-Tex Corporation, which I don't know what it means exactly. But eventually, Funk turns babyface at the end of the, I believe it was after the I Quit match. They turned Funk babyface, and then he started announcing, and he was a commentator, and he would have an interview segment. But he wouldn't stay retired for very long because he returns to WCW in 1994. He has a match with Tully Blanchard on the Slamboree 94. Then joined Colonel Parker's stud stable. So it was Terry Funk, Bunkhouse Bunk, Arn Anderson, and Ming. And they were basically feuding with Dusty and Dustin Rhodes. This is 1994. Funk would move on to IWA Japan and do all those King of the Death match. He would appear in Japan for promotions like the IWA and FMW, doing a lot of death match stuff. We saw that King of the Death match tournament where it was him and Cactus at the end. It was a no-rope barbed wire board exploding ring time bomb death match.
Yep.
Which is horrifying to watch, by the way. Terry Funk spent some time in ECW starting in 1993. He was the color analyst for their show originally.
Jay, I want to say that we had a great show here today. It's the first show, and I'll tell you what, I think we got some room for improvement, and we're going to try real hard for you people out there. But give us some time, and we'll get better, and so will the crowds. And I'll tell you what, I don't know if the wrestlers could have gotten any better than that.
And they started wrestling for them fairly frequently. Him and Dory wrestled the Public Enemy in a barbed wire baseball bat match. I think it was a barbed wire baseball bat match. And then he would go on to have matches with Cactus Jack, Shane Douglas, the Sandman, Sabu, and then towards the end, he turned heel towards the end. He started out as a heel against Cactus. No, yeah, he turned out because they did the whole Funk in the Box. So they did this thing where Cactus Jack and the Sandman are feuding, and Cactus throws the Sandman into a box, and then the Sandman gets out of the box, but he's still wearing the sheet. So Cactus goes to hit the Sandman with the kendo stick, but he pulls the sheet out, and it's Terry Funk who's wearing the same exact clothes as the Sandman. That was a really cool angle. So basically wrestled for them. He ended up winning the ACW World Title in 1997 on their first pay-per-view. I think eventually he would lose it to Sabu. He wrestled Bret Hart for the WWF Championship in Amarillo at the WrestleFest event, the 50 Years of Funk show that he put on himself, and he was able to get talent from ECW, I believe WCW, and WWF to appear on that show. He would come back to WWF in 1997 as Chainsaw Charlie, which is ridiculous, and would go on to have that famous dumpster match with the New Age Outlaws at WrestleMania.
Yeah.
Remember, fucking Billy Gunn fucking powerbombed him fucking into the fucking dumpster. It was fucking ridiculous. Funk would retire from WWF, do some more shots and ECW, and then return to WCW, and he's part of the Old Age Outlaws, and ended up winning the United States Championship while he was there. And this is WCW 2000, which no one should ever watch, ever. After that, he did independent circuits. He did a match in Ring of Honor, wrestled CM Punk, wrestled at MLW. He just wrestled all over the world. Yeah, 2005 was in he did the One Night Stand show. No, he did in 2006. 2005 did the Hardcore Homecoming show. I believe they redid the three-way dance with Shane Douglas and Sabu. Came back for the second one-night stand in the WWE and wrestled. He wrestled. It was him and Tommy Dreamer who took on Mick Foley and Edge.
Yeah, nice.
That was insane. Insane match. The Funks were inducted in the WWE Hall of Fame in 2009 by Dusty Rhodes. And the last time we seen him on WWF TV, he gave Dean Ambrose a pep talk for his match against Brock Lesnar at WrestleMania 32.
Jeez.
So.
Ambrose.
So, Funk has done movies like Roadhouse, Paradise Alley, The Ringer, and Over the Top. He was on the Western show Wild Side as Promethean Jones. He also has his music albums. He's a soft rock music album called The Great Texan, which was released in 1984. I want to get that album, by the way. So Terry Funk, one of the all-time greats in professional wrestling. I don't think words do him justice. I just recently saw a 34-part Best of Terry Funk compilation that had 34 different parts, and each part was like 4 hours long.
Oh my God.
Yeah. Terry Funk's been doing it a long, long time, and he's one of the best to ever do it. So, big time Terry Funk fan myself. All right, guys, as we wrap up this show, I want to say it's been a pleasure and an honor to do this show for the past 2 years. I appreciate anyone who has taken the time out of their day to watch and listen to us on YouTube. I greatly appreciate that. And I appreciate Matt, because the hardest thing to do with these type of shows is to get someone to do it with you who is consistent, who will do it week in and week out. You see so many podcasts come and go, and they fall apart after a few weeks because of scheduling, and people don't want to do them anymore, and what have you. And Matt has been consistently here with me every week. We're going into our 3rd year.
Good God.
Yeah. And so I want to say thank you, Matt, for being a friend. Thank you for being a friend.
There you go.
And listening to me jabber on about wrestling uncontrollably for hours on end. This will be our 182nd video on YouTube, which is insane if you think about it. Yeah. We're rapidly approaching 1,000 subscribers. I already have 1,000 followers on Twitter, which is a great accomplishment for this channel, so I greatly appreciate that. And guys, this is not the end of Retro Wrestling Games, not by a long shot. We're going to have new content.
False finish.
We're going to have a continuation of our Retro Wrestling Games Presents. Their next show will be WCW NWA Revenge. You guys voted for it. It won our Twitter poll. 54% of the Twitter audience voted for that game to be reviewed next, and that will be coming up next week. In addition, in a few weeks, probably 6 weeks or so, depending on the timing, we will start the NWA 1984 project.
Oh, no.
Yeah. So that will be insane. So I just want to thank everyone out there for listening to us. I greatly appreciate it. And as the finish goes, we have a new NWA World Heavyweight Champion, Bruiser Brody.
Oh, no.
Bruiser Brody will be our Hogan killer. Bruiser Brody is our answer to Hulk Hogan. But if you want to hear my rationalization for that, you got to listen to the NWA 1984 project. So for